God damn it.
What the fuck?
Oh! Holy shit! Alright, so Jade and I are heading up to West Palm Beach. A very special find today. I was just scrolling Craigslist this morning for 1500 and under, and what did I find? I found a 1988 Olds Toronado Trofeo. Now, some of my original fans will remember I still have one. I have an 89. I've had it for like at least 6 years. It's up in Boston in storage. I didn't bring it down here when I moved because it needs a lot of work. And I bought that car with a lot of spray paint and problems. They're very rare. I bought that car for $1,300 back in 2011, I want to say, or 10. It was 11. And I mean, I put that up for sale over the summer, just kind of test the waters. I had people offer me $2,500 for it as it sat, and now it needs brakes, shocks, fuel lines, brake lines, everything. It's been rusting, sitting. Even though it's indoors, there's a lot of humidity, and I mean, it's a New England car, so that stuff was rusty to begin with. So anyway, these are very rare. People collect them. I love them. You know, I don't have any plans on selling mine. I've had it for years. I'll dump the money into it eventually. It's only got 90,000 miles on it. I bought it 85,000. They're very cool. If you don't know about them, go look them up on Google. Very rare car. The Toronado in itself from the 80s, the late 80s, is pretty rare. Especially the Trofeo. You get an FE3 suspension, you get like 40-way power seats, you get the, well, even the Toronado came with it if you ordered it, but you get the special touchscreen radio. Very cool, very sporty, very expensive car that was new. One of the best looking cars out of the 80s in my opinion. So anyway, I was just about to get off Craigslist this morning and walk out the door, and the last car I see and the guy spelled it wrong. The guy has no idea what he has. He spells it Toronto, that's how he spelled it, Oldsmobile Toronto, and asking $1,500 for it. Like I said, it's an 88, it is the Trofeo. He doesn't even know what that is. I can just see the badge in the back, I can tell by the front grille. In the wheels, it looks to be in incredible shape. It's got 120K on it. It says the AC works, everything works, it's good to go. Now we'll see if that's actually the case when we get up there, but again, he's asking $1,500 just based on what people are offering me for mine. And I had a guy who was I decided not to sell it. I had a guy who was begging me to sell it to him for $2,500, begging me. He was gonna fly from the Midwest to come pick the car up. I told him, like, you can't drive this thing home. The tires are shot, everything is shot. And so I know what they're worth. But again, I wouldn't buy this to flip. I'd hoard this. I love these cars way too much. I'd love to have one in this nice a shape. Especially for this price. So we're on our way up to West Palm now, and we'll see if it's as nice as is advertised. But I'll tell you what, these cars are so rare. Even if it needs a few things, he's firm on the price, I'll take it home as long as it's driving good and it's minor work. I mean, if it's got some big issues, if I can get the price down substantially, I'll buy it, because again, I just know what the car is worth, and I'd fix it up. So we'll see. Very excited to get up there. We'll keep you guys posted. Just bought this for $800, and he's putting a serpentine bill on it. One owner. Alright guys, I can't believe I bought this car for $800 with a new serpentine belt installed on the spot. It's got a new battery, fresh oil change, it's got a new caliper in the front, new hose on the other side. They went through this whole car. The story is, it was a one owner. I got the title right here. I don't want to show the seller's name because he's still alive. He's in a nursing home, but look, 88. And so he always had it serviced at this one garage. Oh, come on, Jaden, I have to get out there. I'm following Jaden, he's driving the Element, and he kind of just fucked me. But anyway, Always had service as one garage. Then he went into a nursing home and he gave it to the kid that worked there and said, sell it. And so the kid was selling it. And they went, but this thing had been sitting since 2013. And you know what? You never know it. It's been repainted before, resprayed in some areas excellently. It looks original. The paint, you can only tell because of the mirrors. It might just been the mirrors that resprayed, to be honest, but some areas on the paint look not original. But this thing is in really good shape. I just gotta find Jaden here. The brakes are fine. Tires are slightly dry rotted, but not terribly, just on the edges. I don't think it's gonna need much. The only thing that I could see was the struts and the rear air shocks are gone. Other than that, it seems good, especially with all the money with the free serpentine belt that was just put in and all the money they put into it with the brakes and the oil change and shit. Where the hell is Jaden? Totally took off. I've done this to him a million times before, so I can't complain. But anyway, we're taking 95 south, I know that much. I'm just hoping it makes it home because this thing really hasn't been driven. They literally got out of this guy's garage after sitting there since 2013, put a fresh tank of gas, oil change, battery, and we just did the serpentine belt and the brakes. So I don't know if it's going to make it home. I got an hour and a half drive, maybe even longer, but it's running cool. Oil pressure is good. I'm sure this thing's going to shake like hell on the highway because it's been sitting for so long. Flat spots. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I could not be happier with this buy. I would have paid close to $1,500 for this car, but you gotta play your poker face like I always do. I acted like I really wasn't interested, but at the same time, he was telling me how attached. The guy was crying. He said he gave him the car. He didn't want to sell. I just can't drive anymore. He showed me all the old pictures the guy gave him to show the potential buyer of his wife with the car. They bought it and shit. Unfortunately, he wouldn't give me the pictures. The guy wanted them back. He just wanted the buyer to see. But I should have took a picture of him. But anyway, I said, listen, I'm interested. And he even put up on the lift for me, the mechanic. It was at a shop, like I told you guys, and I got to check everything out, so I know exactly what I'm getting. And he goes, so what do you want to do? I go, well, I'm interested, but not at $1,500. I go, I bought mine for $1,300, and that was in 2011. And it was not in this good a shape, I'll tell you that. Pretty close, but it had to, I had to put a gas tank in it right away, and then it was fine. And then I slid off the road and crashed it. I had to pretty much rebuild the whole rack and pinion, and now it needs brakes, all this other shit from sitting. But anyway, he goes, well, what do you want to do on it? I go, I don't know, what's your best number? He goes, I'd like to get $1,000 for it. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like thinking, fuck, like that's already a good number. And I go, listen, okay, we're getting up to 55. So far, it's actually pretty smooth. So even if I can only go like 60 before it starts shaking, that's not terrible. But, oh, it's still going smooth. I'm shocked. Oh my, shaking a little bit, but not terrible. So I said, listen, I'm at 800. And he goes, $1,000 and I'll put a serpentine belt in it right now, because the serpentine belt was gone from this thing sitting. And I go, I'm at 800 with the serpentine belt. Thinking he was going to counter. He goes, okay, I'll do that. He thought about it for a minute. So I don't think I could have got him any lower than that. He was thinking about it. He goes, you know what? I'm glad it's going to a good home. He's going to like that. He goes, we'll do the 800 with this. And right away, serpentine belt right off the wall, threw it in. So, yeah, now it shakes over 60. Sorry, Jaden. Jaden drives pretty slow. So, unless we're racing. He's up there somewhere in the, there he is in the element. I'll have to catch up to him, get a nice drive-by. There's Jaden in the element. I've got to say, it looks pretty good. Check engine light just came on. Mine does the same thing on the highway. Comes on the highway, shuts off in town. But it's running nice and cool. Everything else is good. Let's see if we can get a nice side shot of the element here. I love it. Love my daily. Alright, so we're in Fort Lauderdale, hitting a little bit of traffic now. The Toronado has been doing wonderful, no issues. The tires keep getting better and better with every mile. The flat spots are starting to go away. Been averaging now not doing as good because we're in traffic, but I was averaging about 30 miles a gallon, which is typical of these. You can see the Element needs a couple taillights back there, but I am just so excited to get home and start, you know, checking this thing. I mean, I really got a good look at everything at the shop where I bought it, but just all the little details I've been noticing. It's got the original Oldsmobile keychain, the original keys. This thing is the real deal. One owner, in impeccable condition. Everything works. This is by far one of my favorite buys yet. So can't wait to get home and show you guys more. Hopefully I make it there. I don't see why I wouldn't, but so far so good. So I was driving and the oil pressure, it just all of a sudden I felt a thump and looked, oil pressure was all the way down. So I shut her off and rolled over into this breakdown area in neutral. I'm in fucking Hollywood, Florida. I'm still 40 minutes away from home. I don't know what's going on. I'm about to go look. So I'm always in the worst of places when my cars break. It's got oil. So I think it just shut itself off. I'm gonna try to start it back up. I just wanted to make sure there was oil in it before I did anything. I don't see any leaks. I don't see anything wrong. I'm gonna check underneath. That's just from the air compressor. I don't see anything wrong. So this does have an aftermarket security thing in it, but it's not electronic. I don't know. Let's go ahead and try to start it back up. I'm nervous. Here we go. Is it running or not? No, that was on before. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what that's about because Jesus. So the fuel pump, I can hear it kicking in, so it's not fuel. These cars are so electronic, it could be a number of things. I'm really not sure. I'm gonna check a few more things, the engine bay, check some fuses, and hopefully I can get this thing turned on and get back home. Okay, it started. Fuck, gotta get this thing home. I'm kind of nervous now, especially being on 95. I'm gonna try to get as close to home as I can. Hopefully I'm gonna get off the highway as soon as I fucking can. I'm still in Hollywood. I got like 40 minutes until I get home. So, I mean, it's cooled down now. It's weird, it was running in the 200s, like 203, 204, which is a little over temp for this thing. It should be running around 190. So maybe the computer just shut it down because it was hot. But again, that really isn't hot. Like 225, the fans should kick in. So, I don't know. I'm just gonna race this thing home. Fuck, it died again. It fucking died again. This is gonna be a real fun drive, I can tell. I've got a road ranger here to help me. He just pulled over, saw me break down again. I don't know if I got that on film. I cut out again, not even a mile later. So he's gonna take a look. Hopefully this guy has a mechanical background. We can get this thing back on the road. Poor Jaden's supposed to be somewhere at 5 and I keep breaking down.
Buscar una foto, yo no puedo hacer nada si no tienes la foto. No, de King, de mi mamá. Estúpido.
So we're back. I just had the wrecker drop me off, $125 down the drain. But whatever, the car's running now. It would start up even when I was on the side of the road, but it just shut off minutes later, or not even, like 30 seconds later. Now it's been running for a few minutes. It almost seems to be hesitating a bit. So I'm not sure what's going on, but this is a car that was sitting for 7 years, so I'm not too surprised this happened. But I'm still very happy with the purchase. I mean, it's in 10 times better shape than I thought. Look at the body. So, I mean, now I'm into it for $925 with the tow. And poor Jaden had to wait for me. But my phone died. The tow truck guy was calling me, couldn't get a hold of me. He finally found me. But anyway, at least I got a good hookup for a tower now. The guy's real nice, very careful with the car. So Jade and I are gonna fuck around with this thing for a bit. All right, so I haven't looked into the Tornado much more because by the time I brought Jaden back to where he had to be and shit, it got dark out. I'm not that worried about it. I think it's going to be some minor electrical gremlin. A few things I want to clear up. When the car first stalled out, I said, oh, the oil pressure dropped. It didn't actually drop. The car had shut off on its own. And of course, when I was looking at the gauge, I didn't realize that I was going to accelerate and nothing was happening. And then I looked over and saw that the oil pressure gauge was down. That's because the car was off. So there was never a drop in oil pressure. Again, the car just shut off. And when I kept replicating what was going on, when I was sitting waiting for the wrecker to come, and I let it run and shut off, same thing would happen. And the car would shut off, and then obviously because the car is not running, of course the oil pressure gauge is not going to read. So that's that. Trying to think of what else there is to say. The gas is good. The shop I bought it from, they drained the tank and put a full tank of fresh gas in it before I bought it. So I'm ruling that out. The fuel pump, like I said, you hear it kicking every single time. Could there be an issue with the fuel pump unrelated to bad gas? Possibly. Maybe it's kicking on and off. Maybe there's something electrical going on. That's my best guess because it's not like the car is starting to sputter and then shut off. It just shuts off as if someone turned the key off. Maybe it's the ignition module. I don't really know. I mean, it's some minor gremlin. The engine runs very well. In the clip just before this one, it sounds like it has lifter tick. It doesn't, at least as far as I can tell, because I heard the same thing when I first checked out the car. And when you rev it up, there's no ticking. So I think that's just, I mean, there very well could be some very minor lifter noise. The car sat forever. It does have fresh oil, but even still. But when you rev that engine, it there's no more ticking. There's no knocking. There's nothing even now. So I mean, maybe it's a sticky injector. I don't know. Again, this car has been that's what you have to remember. This car sat for since 2013. These guys got it from the original owner, who asked them to sell it for him, and they just did what was necessary to get it back on the road. So there are obviously going to be some other things like what's going on today I got to figure out. But overall, I am thrilled with the purchase. I mean, it made it just about 2 hours. Full out highway driving with the AC blasting the whole time. The AC was converted. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of what's been done to the car since it's been going to the shop for all these years. From what this mechanic could remember, because he hasn't worked there forever, he always serviced the transmission like every 30,000 miles, had the fluid and filter changed. The AC's been converted. It's no longer the old school Freon, it's the new shit. New compressor, everything is new, it's ice cold. The plugs and wires aren't new, but they're replaced and not the originals. And like I said, right before I bought the car, before I went to look at it, you know, they had done the front brake caliper because when they got the car from the guy's house, it was sticking because it had been sitting for so long. And the other side just needed a new hose. And they also did the oil change, coolant, fresh gas, a couple other minor things to make it ready to go. And then I looked at the car, and really the only thing I noticed besides the shocks and struts being bad were that the serpentine belt was pretty dry rotted. So as I told you guys in the video, I had them throw a new one in as part of the deal, because I didn't want to drive the car home and worry about that belt the entire time. So I'm still really thrilled with the buy. Like I said, this thing is in really nice shape. I realize now I'm watching the video, I'm editing it. I didn't really get many shots of the car. Obviously, I'll do a video tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, Friday, of the car, the exterior. There's one dent on this car, very minor in the front. Right at the front of the passenger fender, where the old man must have bumped something. You don't even notice unless you're looking in the right light. The rest of the car is perfectly straight. There isn't even any shopping cart dings on it. Everything works. All the electronics are working. So I couldn't be happier with this purchase. This thing is pristine, and I can't wait to figure out what this little minor electrical gremlin is or whatever it may be, because I can't wait to start taking this thing out, bringing it to some cruise nights and shit like that. Give it a good wax. It is waxed up, actually. I found all the detail supplies in the trunk. Even came with a car cover. I mean, all the shit that the old man had in this car for years. So, yeah, I'll do a much better video of the car itself tomorrow or later in the week, but I'm going to do some online research. I've had a lot of cars with this motor, the Series 1 3800, and I have never seen this issue where it just shuts off. So I'll figure it out, though. So thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for some more Trofeo videos. And I hope sooner than later I'll be able to get my 89 down here to Florida, so these two cars can hang out and both get worked on. I mean, this one really doesn't need anything at all besides the strut shocks and whatever's causing it to shut off. My original one, the 89, needs some work, but well worth it to me. So thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for the next video.